Today on TFL Bike, we are celebrating the new year of 2023 by talking about some motorcycles that everybody in the motorcycle industry is pretty excited to see coming out.
Yeah, these are the bikes you need to keep your eyes on this year. This is what's new and exciting and what you should be looking forward to. And we kind of have this list broken up into two sections. We have sort of the official section of bikes that we have some confirmation directly from the manufacturer that, hey, this is a bike that is being made, being produced. And
here's what it looks like, here's the specs, it's actually coming.
Exactly. And then we have an unofficial section at the end of this video where we'll talk about just a couple bikes that we think we have some clues as to why they might be coming, but they're not confirmed yet.
And one of those in particular is the one that we're most excited about. But we'll start out with the official bikes. And we also did a list for all of the best motorcycles that we rode last year, at the end of last year. So if you want to see everything that was great in the past year, go check that out. But now we get to talk about some of the stuff that we're hopefully going to be throwing a leg over in the upcoming year. And it starts out with big news from Suzuki.
Yeah, and I'm really excited about this one. We did a little update video like a week or two ago, just in the office, where we were asking you guys what you wanted to see in 2023, and I begged you guys to email Suzuki and get them on our good side, because I made fun of them for years. They didn't do anything exciting, and they're finally doing something exciting now. So props to Suzuki for coming out with this new platform that a lot of parts are shared between the new GSX 8S and the v-strom 800DE and 800DE Adventure.
Yeah, and starting out with the Adventure, the v-strom, this is a motorcycle that was shown in November, so it was shown at EICMA, and it's a v-strom with a brand new 776cc parallel twin with a 270-degree crank, so it's kind of like a CP2 in that way. It's got same firing order as a 90-degree V-twin, which makes it a really fun engine, or it will, and it's paired to a 6-speed transmission.
Yeah, so this is kind of the new, like, middleweight adventure bike from Suzuki. They've, of course, had like the v-strom 1050s for a while now that also got sort of revised a few years ago. But yeah, we now have 270-degree crank and ride-by-wire, quick shifter, lots of good tech in here, in a light, nimble package that's not going to scare most people off-road.
Yeah, and it's got almost 9 inches of suspension travel, which is pretty decent. Fully adjustable Showa suspension, which is also really nice. Yeah, like you said, a good amount of technology. There's no word yet on the power output from this new engine. Suzuki has revealed a lot of the information and engineering behind the engine, and they've even shown a power and torque graph, but they didn't include any numbers with it. So we're not sure yet what the output is, but this bike seems to have a lot going for it. 33.6-inch seat height, which is decently tall, 5.2 gallon tank, which is a good sized tank. But I will say it's a fairly heavy bike. It's just over 500 pounds curb weight, which if you compare to the Desert X, which is also, I mean, granted a very expensive bike, but a very powerful bike, that's about 20 almost pounds more than the Desert X.
Yeah, which is a lot of weight, and we don't know exactly how powerful this bike is yet. But I don't think it's going to have as much power as that Ducati. And yeah,
it's not light.
It's definitely not light, but a hell of a lot lighter than, their top of the line full-size v-stroms.
Yeah.
Also, sort of in the same category as this is the new GSX 8S, which is their naked bike, sort of their middleweight naked bike. And yeah, it shares, the same general chassis and engine as the new v-strom we just talked about. And this is kind of the SV650 replacement, which is a legendary bike. And it's sort of the replacement, because if you go on Suzuki's website, you'll see they're still offering the SV650, but we don't know how long that's going to go on for. And I would imagine if you're shopping for a new motorcycle and you go into a Suzuki dealership and you see an SV650 and this new 8S sitting next to it,
you're probably going to go for the new one.
Go for the new one.
Yeah, and it's also got a lot of tech that is very similar to the v-strom, those rider aids, different riding modes, quick shifter. And another thing about this bike, kind of like the v-strom, it's also decently heavy. It's 445 pounds curb weight.
Yeah, which is a lot. I mean, that's 20 pounds heavier than my MT-09 and a much smaller engine too.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is a really popular category of bike. The naked bikes, they're kind of exploding. Like I said, I was shocked for years that Suzuki just didn't really amp up the SV650. You have, Kawasaki with the Z650 and the Z900, and Yamaha with the MT-09 and MT-07, and Suzuki just kind of sleeping on it.
So this is some potential for them to bring a lot of updates, and it's one thing pouring over notes on a page and a whole other thing to actually get on a bike and ride it, which is what we're excited to do. So we'll have to withhold any judgment really on these bikes until they come out, but there's
they're confirmed.
A lot of good things. Yeah,
they're coming to the US. You can go to a dealership and get one. They are arriving here in the States. Yeah. Definitely.
And it seems like they've got a lot of good going for them. So those will both be exciting bikes.
They look really good too. Yeah. I think they're really good looking bikes.
Yeah, they are. And also, moving on, very similar for Honda. So Suzuki.
It's like the same thing that Suzuki did.
Suzuki came out with a new parallel twin and an ADV and a naked bike. And Honda did exactly the same thing.
Yep, they did. So we're going to start with the Hornet because that's arguably, well, at least in my eyes, that's the more exciting one because I'm a naked motorcycle kind of person.
I'd probably lean towards the ADV.
Okay, well, there you go. Anyway, this new parallel twin, also 270 degree, 755cc parallel twin, 6-speed transmission, makes 90 horsepower and 55 pound-feet of torque in both the naked version and in the Transalp, which we'll get to in a second. It's ride-by-wire, so you have 4 riding modes, good tech, wheelie control, torque control, engine modes, and a really good looking 5-inch TFT. And then as far as, suspension and brakes, Showa forks, Nissan brakes, so not like top of the line stuff, but definitely suitable stuff we've seen on plenty of other bikes.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of good tech, good components here, and very comparable to what we were seeing in the GSX 8S. So it's ever so slightly smaller displacement. It's 755cc versus 776, but both engines are 270 degree parallel twins. Both of them are 6-speed transmissions. So these will presumably be very comparable bikes, and it'll be interesting to see what the actual power output on the Suzuki engine is. If it's slightly higher displacement, it might be slightly more power.
How do you feel about the styling on the Hornet, by the way?
I mean, more angular modern styling is just not my thing specifically. Bikes more like the XSR 900 are a little bit more my style for something modern. But I think it looks modern. It looks exactly like what you would expect a naked bike to look like.
Yeah, I was a little disappointed, honestly, in the styling because they teased that rendering of like the prototype so many times, and I expected it to just look fabulous when it finally showed up. Looks a little basic to me, but it's still a good looking bike. But I want to hear your thoughts down in the comments on what you guys think of the Transalp and the
Hornet.
Why am I forgetting the name? The Hornet. I almost said Hawk, which is another bike that's out there.
And we also have, like you mentioned, the Honda XL750 Transalp. So this is the ADV version of the bike that's using that same engine. And this is an old nameplate, kind of from the 80s. I love that they're using XL because that just gives me the warm and fuzzies about old school Honda dirt bikes. So this is a smaller, more road-focused ADV bike. Once again, 755cc parallel twin, same 90 horsepower, 55 pound-feet of torque, and also a lot of really good tech on this bike.
Yeah, I mean, it's like we said, it's the same platform you're gonna get from the Hornet. So all the same stuff, ride-by-wire, 4 riding modes, slipper clutch, all the nannies we talked about for the Hornet, you're gonna get all that same stuff here. What's really cool is you have ABS and it's switchable. So you can turn the ABS off at the rear wheel for dirt riding, which is exactly what you want. So not only a bike that's gonna look good, look like it can go off-road, but a bike that should be able to be pretty capable off-road with that switchable ABS.
Yeah, so it's similar to the new v-strom in that way, and they kind of go tit for tat a little bit. So 4.5 gallon tank here in the Honda, so slightly smaller tank than what you get in the Suzuki, but you have nice Showa suspension, a great looking TFT, and the curb weight on this bike is going to be 459 pounds. So it is a good bit lighter than the Suzuki, which is pretty nice. I mean, especially in an off-road bike.
Yeah, Very nice. Especially, you know, I've said this so many times. I'm a tiny little dude, and I really like light bikes because they just feel much more manageable, and especially in an off-road bike, something you know you're probably going to end up dropping off-road by yourself at some point. It's nice
you have to pick it back up.
Yeah, any pounds you can shave off that thing to get it back on two wheels is much appreciated in my eyes.
The other nice thing that makes it approachable is that you have adjustable seat heights, and the lowest position for that is 32.2 inches, so over an inch lower than what you'll get in the v-strom.
Yeah, and that figure impressed me. That's a pretty low seat height for an adventure bike.
Both of these Hondas, they're not US confirmed, but I mean, this is a lot of development that's going into both of these motorcycles. So it would be strange if they did not.
They're coming to the US. Honda hasn't said it yet, but they're coming to the US.
Yeah, they might have different names, but we have to imagine that it's most likely that these bikes are going to end up making it stateside. So,
if they bring that Transalp here and ditch the Transalp nameplate,
that would be a bit of a bummer.
That would be a huge bummer. Same
Yeah,
with
you'd
the
have to
Hornet.
do a little graphic swap.
They got to keep the names. Honda, bring the bikes here and keep the names.
Keep the names. Yeah, so it seems like this next year is going to be the year of the parallel twin.
Yeah.
Which is really not a bad thing, because for street riding ability, it's really nice to have a parallel twin. They're torquey.
It's the way things are going.
Yeah.
Torquey, and you don't have to rev the balls off of them to actually make it around on the street. You did a great video. If you want to see how a parallel twin actually acts on the street as a street bike, go watch his R7 review, because we did a video with the R7 on the track, and it's just really cool to see how an engine like that can perform on the street, because that's where it's really made to be.
Yeah, twins are really nice on the street. So let's move on to the Can-Am Pulse and the Can-Am Origin that are coming out.
Yeah, so these are not parallel twins, very different from a parallel twin actually, because they're all electric, and we don't know a ton about these yet, but we're seeing the same exact thing happen as with the first bikes from Suzuki and from Honda. Platform sharing. So Can-Am developed this new Rotax e-Power motorcycle electric motor, and they're throwing it into two different bikes that are based on the same platform. So you do the development once and you can sell two bikes. Makes perfect sense. So the Pulse is their naked street bike. The Origin is their adventure bike. They're really good looking bikes, modern lighting, TFT screens. They're using this cool like yellowish green accent with these white bodywork panels to make it look kind of futuristic and tell you that they're EVs. But that's really all we know. We won't really see these hit the States until 2024, but hopefully later this year we'll have more detailed specs and pricing, because we really know nothing now besides seeing some pictures of renderings.
Yeah, exactly. And in kind of a similar vein, we also have some Kawasaki EVs, hybrids, and hydrogen-powered bikes on this list. So in EICMA 2022 in November, Kawasaki unveiled a bunch of pre-production and prototype models that are focused on being carbon neutral, which is kind of an interesting new direction for the motorcycle industry. So the hybrid can switch between internal combustion engine and electric power, and those are set to arrive around 2024. Then the hydrogen model is a supercharged Ninja H2 platform, but using hydrogen for power, which is unique.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
We've tested some electric cars here that are hydrogen powered, and the problem we found here is that there's nowhere to fill them up with hydrogen. But in terms of like actually driving and riding them around, they were great. I mean, to me, it felt like a better version of an electric car, honestly.
Yeah.
Something you can fill up quick. So yeah, that's exciting tech that's coming down the pipeline.
Yeah, not a ton of information on them in terms of specs, but once again, things that we hope to just get more details on over this next year. Some pretty exciting and big things that both Can-Am and Kawasaki are working on.
We do have a new logo from Kawasaki, which is this, they call it, or their tagline for it is go with green power. So this is probably an image you're going to see on a lot of Kawasaki electric, hydrogen, hybrid bikes from here on out. So yeah, just keep that logo in your minds, because you'll probably be seeing a lot more of it.
Now to the unofficial bikes, and I'm going to start first with an unofficial bike from Kawasaki, and we'll leave the one that we're most excited about to the end. So Kawasaki.
I'm excited about this Kawasaki.
I'm more excited about the other one, but there's rumors around a ZX4R.
Yeah, and there have been for a long time. So If you take a look at Kawasaki's lineup, and we did a whole video on this. If you want a deep dive on Kawasaki's lineup, you can go watch an hour of it, maybe an hour and a half of it. But basically they have their Ninja lineup, like the Ninja 400, the Ninja 650, which look like racy sport bikes, but they're more street focused. And then they have their R version, the ZX6R and the ZX10R, that are the actual sport bikes that are
more aggressive riding position. It's the difference between a sport and a super sport bike.
Exactly. So there's been rumors for a long time that Kawasaki is going to come out with a ZX4R because they have a Ninja 400. They have the frame and the platform for it. They just need to make some changes to the bike, and that formula works well for them. They do the Ninja 650 and a ZX6R. So yeah, February 1st, if you go on Kawasaki's website right now, they'll tell you that on the 1st of February, they're launching 2 new motorcycles. And there's a little teaser image there, which shows 2 motorcycles sitting under covers. We can't tell a lot from it, but you can zoom in and see that there's a cast wheel there with a street tire and some sort of green sporty accent, like a pinstriping around the wheel, which Kawasaki does on a lot of their sport bikes. So we know it's not a dirt bike, and pretty much the whole world thinks this is going to be the ZX4R. Again, more aggressive, sportier version, focused for aggressive riding version of the Ninja 400.
Yeah, which would be exciting for a lot of people and for a lot of reasons, because it would be a great entry-level track bike. You would have the aggressive riding position, but a lightweight bike where you can really focus on cornering, so it would be awesome for performance in that vein. And then if you wanted to get your first street bike, you wanted something that looked and feel racy without it actually being scary, dangerous, unapproachable, it would be good for that as well. So this is a bike that has a lot of potential for a number of markets in the motorcycle industry.
I would love one of these for mountain rides, because I love going up into the canyons, and the Ninja 400 feels a little too relaxed to me to like really throw into corners.
Right.
But like a ZX6R has got way too much power for the mountains, and you can really get into a lot of trouble. So something like this that you can, get up into altitude and really push and kind of ride close to its limits and still not break the speed limit by 2 or 3 times. That seems really exciting.
Especially because a lot of our roads up here are really tight, and it's sharp, tight corners, so it would be nice to have a lightweight bike that you can throw around a little bit more.
Exactly.
And now finally, the bike that I'm most excited about, and something that Alex would probably sell his existing Yamaha, or maybe both of his Yamahas, to get.
Yeah, this is the R9, which again, rumors of this have been floating around the internet for a long time, and I probably don't even need to explain this bike for you to know what it is.
Yeah.
Because it's following the same formula as the R7. You take a very popular bike, which would be the MT-09 with the CP3, and you basically put fairings on it, throw clip-ons on it, rear sets, and make it a super sport. The 600cc super sport class is dying. Yamaha killed off their R6. Honda hasn't updated the 600, their 600, the CBR. We do have new stuff from Kawasaki, but yeah, it's just people aren't buying these anymore. So the R6 was replaced by the R7. You can no longer, well, maybe you can buy an R6 as a track-only, non-street legal bike. I'm not sure. But same thing. I mean, we saw this all throughout the first half of this video. The more bikes a manufacturer can sell with the engines and the frames they already have developed, the more money they're going to make. So it only makes sense for Yamaha to put this engine in a super sport. It's a bike people have been dying for, asking for, and I think it would sell really well. And we have a clue as to why it's actually coming here or not coming here, but will be announced in the future.
Yeah, so the biggest piece that we've seen that makes it seem like this is likely to happen is that in August of 2021, Yamaha filed applications for the name R9 in the EU, in the UK, in the US, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, and in the Philippines. So a lot of really big motorcycle markets. And the fact that they filed for that name means that they are likely seriously considering making that motorcycle. And like you said, it would make sense to do. They've got the engine, they have that platform, so why not build a bike that people, lots of them, would love to ride and would love to buy? I mean, it's a great engine for riding on the street. I would imagine it's probably a good engine on the track because you've got a lot of top end.
It would actually make more power, I think, than the R6. if you took an MT-09 motor and put it in this platform, I think it would outperform, not outperform necessarily, but it would outpower an R6 from a few years ago. So
yeah, I mean, you've got a lot of torque in that engine and also a lot more displacement than the R6 had. As much as you love your R6, I know if this R9 were to come out, you would be very seriously considering your R6 track bike going down the road so that it could make way for an R9.
The thing that really excites me about an R9 is it could be a bike that takes the spot of 2 bikes in my garage, because it's got that sporty riding position where I can take it to the track, I can have a ball with it, but it's also got enough low-end torque that I can ride it to work and still have a blast. The R7, I'd love that as a track bike, but me personally, I feel like it's a little too underpowered on the street. Just for me, I like accelerating really hard. So the R7's a fast bike, but I really love the CP3s. So yeah, the R9 would satisfy both the street bike and the track bike segment for me. So I'm really hoping they bring it here.
Yeah, and the other nice thing too is that Yamaha makes really good looking full fairing bikes. Their sport bikes are just attractive. So I would even love it if they came out with the R9. That's a motorcycle that I would love to throw a leg over. So hopefully that's something that we get confirmed and we see actually coming to our market, all markets, in the next year.
Yeah, so there you go. We have a bunch of different bikes we're looking forward to this year. I'm sure there's a few on here that we didn't cover that you guys are excited about.
Yeah, because there's plenty of motorcycles that are coming out. These are just the ones that top the list for us.
Yeah, so hopefully we can get some seat time on some of these. Some of these we know we're not going to get seat time on, but we're hoping we can just get some additional info this year and then maybe seat time the following year. But that's what we're excited about. Head on over to alltfl.com so you don't miss anything. Let us know what you're excited about down in the comments. We'll catch you in the next video.